Yeah.
Yeah, hi, I'm Seamless, and today is Saturday, which means it's time for the next weekly live stream. Today, I'm here with Au5 and Prismatic, and we're making a track.
Yeah.
We're having a bit of a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that that's Nucleon from the Image forums.
Yeah.
He has a whole bunch of other awesome ones.
What time is it?
I don't know if that's him. I don't think that's
You and me.
That's right.
Spin it again. So easy.
Rock me, baby.
him. That's obviously not him. Where's house music? House music's in here somewhere.
Was that a laughing sample? Or was that
Rock
something else?
me,
No, that's
baby.
me laughing.
Where's house music? It's in here. I know it's...
It's a smash hit.
That's the thing that's like.
We need a beat.
Guys,
We need a beat.
we need a beat. Am I blind?
Put it-
Where's it might be in legacy vocals.
E4 approves of able to Alberton.
Yes, for those who were not here for the pre-show, we decided that we were going to start a new DAW called Alberton Live. Alberton Live.
Guys,
Yep.
it's gonna sue you for copyright.
All right, oh, here it is.
House music.
There it is.
House music.
Tutorial.
House music.
There's a tutorial feature in it where it just has Seamless's floating head that pops up and tells you what to do.
Yes, and we're getting AU4 to endorse this new DAW.
AU4.
House music.
Okay. Before I die, I'm gonna close this and never open it again.
What? This project file?
Correct. So, like last week, I experimented with having live callers on the stream via Skype, and so today I want to do the same thing. Only this time we have guests as well. So we're having all kinds of live kind of interactions. So to get the ball rolling, let's have someone ask us a question, and we'll talk about basically what that question is. Hopefully, it's something production related. We pretty much are fully NDA'd about Alberton Live at this point, so not going to answer any questions about that. But feel free to give me a call on Skype. My name is Seamless Live. It's on the screen. You know, you can see it. Seamless Live. We got some calls. John Fisher. Hello, John.
Hello?
John. John.
Hello? Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Not you, John. Other John.
Who's the other John? The guy who's calling.
Guy's calling.
Nice. What's up, John?
I guess he's not actually here, so let's go to another one. No, I'm not doing your freaking... Let's go to James. Hello, James. Or not. He hung up? Okay, let's go to this dude.
Come on, James.
Hello, this dude. Hello.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
Good. And you?
I'm pretty excellent. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, I have. Well, I cannot try to move into FL now, and I don't know if there's possibility to do macros on it. Like you do, you connect all the knobs, all the effects to one knob and automate just one knob like few.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are a couple of ways to do this. So, I'm gonna
In
hang up.
Ableton, I know what he's talking about. In Ableton is where you can.
1 second. Continue what you're saying, John.
You know what he's talking about, right, Steven?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, you just map like random knobs and stuff to one master knob.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna hang up and we'll get to answering your question. Thanks for your call.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm nice at that guy. So, there's a There's a way in FL. There's a thing like link all parameters somewhere. A generic link to control link all parameters someplace. I don't really know where that is or really what it does, but that's okay because there's plenty of easy ways to link a whole bunch of stuff to just one controller. The new way to do it is to open up a control surface if you're using FL11, and you get this thing. And this is actually a thing that you would see more commonly in Patcher, but it's actually just a plugin that you can open in Patcher that just happens to be on by default. So if I add, say, a knob, now I have a knob. And then say I wanted to link all the volume parameters to this knob. I go to each one and go to link the controller, and then inside internal controllers, you'd see this knob show up on the surface. So I can link this, derp, go here, link that. I can link, anything that can be linked to something can be linked to these knobs, because it is a recognized internal controller. And so now this knob, as I move it, I'm still in edit mode. As I move it, it will move all the parameters at once that you have it linked to. So I hope that answers your question. I feel like that was what you were asking. I know somewhere there's a term like a link to all controllers, something like that, but I never quite figured out what that meant or what it did. So actually, I pretty have a good idea what it does now, but it doesn't matter because now I've been talking about this sort of thing. Other controllers that do things like if I open up an XY controller, a fruity XY controller, yeah, then it has an X and a Y that if you want to go to link the controllers, it would also show up in the internal controllers. Same thing with the peak controller, which is a method by which people like to do the side chaining because it reads peak input, and then if you go to link the controller, the peak information actually is read as a controller. And that was something that actually blew Brian's mind pretty hard when he first figured that out because he was all into controlling things by the sounds of other things, which is pretty sweet. All right. 174 viewers. That's more like it. Okay, actually, George makes a good point. He accidentally called Control Surface Dashboard. Control Surface is actually an updated version of Dashboard. It's more or less replacing it. It's, of course, Dashboard is never going to go away because people still have projects that use it, and that would be catastrophic if it were to vanish. It's all right. Let's have additional questions. Bring it on. Let's get this guy, Adam. Hello, Adam.
Holy cow, that's a lot of lag.
Yeah.
Hi,
that's
Seamless.
why I recommend muting the stream. I forgot to say that this time around.
Don't worry, I got you. Okay. Hi, Seamless and friends. So, my question is, obviously, you spend a lot of time on your tracks. So, I was wondering, how do you get over hearing the same thing over and over? Like, I know when I make something, I don't spend nearly as long as you do, but I hear it over and over, and it just starts to sound bad to me. How do you get over that? Like when you made some of your really crazy tracks, like I don't know, Resolve, for example. How could you bear hearing that over and over? Did you change it a lot?
Well, from like an artistic perspective, like arrangement wise, and like making the song, certain parts of it get old, and it's actually like a good measure of like how much I like a track is like if like how fast it gets old, because it will eventually get old. But mostly because I focus on like the sound design elements of things, I focus more on the sounds themselves if they get old. But like the arrangement, I care less. Like I literally do care less about the arrangement. So I don't like if I'm listening to it. Like it depends on my focus, because if I'm listening towards like how well the notes work together, then I'll focus on that and it'll get old after a while. But then if I'm focusing on sound design elements and I'm not focusing on like the arrangement, then like that level of old gettingness is not being applied anymore. And that's a very different thing for each person, I think. And I was actually going to see what Austin has to say about this, because he also does mastering for other people's tracks, and this sort of like second pair of ears, like a second opinion on tracks after listening too long, I think is something he knows a lot about.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, if you don't mind. For me, to not get sick of a song, this is definitely more of a compositional standpoint than getting sick of or getting noise fatigued or getting sick of sound design. when I'm composing and I hear when I'm working on like a melody or a lead or something, I just hear it over and over and over again. Of course, like after a while, it loses its initial. Um, what I do, I use Logic, but I'm sure you can do it with any DAW. Is I change the pitch of the master slightly. I change the pitch of everything. I'll transpose it like one semitone up or one semitone down, and I don't know how that. I don't know if that will. I don't know if what other people how other people would perceive that, but for me, it sounds like it sounds like it's new every time I change the pitch of the song. It sounds like I'm listening to it for the first time. But
I can
that just
see
might be
that,
me.
yeah.
But it's been a technique I've been doing for years.
Quick question, Adam. Can you hear Austin?
Nope. I was wondering the same thing for you.
All right. Well, I know that the stream can hear Austin, but I just realized that there's something I need to change in order for you to be able to hear Austin.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going out. Hold on, some routing shenanigans. So this is going here. All right. I might be doubled to you now.
Yeah, but it's not really a big deal.
I can fix that right now. Okay, so now I'm not doubled.
Hey, Steven, do you mind if I put my 2 cents in for his question?
Yeah. Can you hear him? Can you hear John, Adam?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Awesome. Correction. Good. We're good. All right. Go ahead, John.
Okay. In terms of, okay, so in terms of your question, so when I listen, that happens to me, like just hearing it over and over again, like you kind of just get sick of it. But first of all, what I do is that if like what Steven was saying, that's kind of a measure of how good it is, of how quickly you get sick of it. So what I do is that I listen to it a ton of times because it helps me, like, you know, sound happens so fast and you can't like catch every little thing, you know, from hearing it once. So I listen to it a whole bunch of times, and that helps me really analyze like what I need to change about it.
Also,
right.
like,
And I just change it until I get it to a point where I just really like it. Huh?
I was gonna say that, like, if I like what I'm doing, I'm not really gonna get tired of it because I do make what I want to hear. Like, Rizal was a good example that, like, I was really proud of that track. So, like, I didn't mind listening to it a billion times. There's a certain
Yeah.
amount of like.
Are there some songs that
Sanity.
you got sick of faster than others?
Yeah, well, if I get too sick of a song, I'm just not gonna make it. Like, I'll get kind of discouraged by it. I'll close it and I'll start a new one. Like, I have like a whole crap ton of like false starts, you know. But I think everyone has that sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
Like,
All
for the
right. Well,
ones that
thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for your call. Awesome. So now I think I got this routing thing worked out good. I have my mic coming into FL, which is being processed, and all outside of that, I'm using my driver's actual internal routing to route everything into output 3 and 4 as a copy of the system main output, and then that's coming back in through FL here. Input 1 and 2 is a stereo pair, and that's going out. And it's just muted, it's just there. But then I'm also routing my voice and actually now just everything, the sum. I'm routing that out 7 of my interface, which is going into my laptop, microphone input, which is how the callers are hearing me, and then the laptop's audio is coming back in input 4, which is this here, and that's the second Skype audio that we are hearing together. Good. Okay, new callers. Eric. Hello, Eric.
Hey.
How are you?
Well, hey, I'm good. Wow, so such a delay. Okay.
Yes.
Hey. So I have a question. On Ableton, they have sorry, yeah. Just give me 1 second.
It's all good.
Okay. All right. So on Ableton, on the multiband compressor, they have a setting called OTT, over the top compression, right? And basically, it's an upwards downwards compression setting that seems to make leads have that pop. Like someone made a free VST version of it, right? But and I downloaded it yesterday, and I tried it on some of my leads, and it works. It works very well. The thing is, I don't like the free one because you can't really modify the settings. I was wondering, do you have some way of compensating for that with Maximus? Is there this particular thing that you do to, for the leads, to basically, it almost makes it sound a little bit more professional. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Do you guys, Austin and
I
John,
had some input.
you have any idea what he's talking about?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you go into Ableton and check out its multi-dynamic or its multi-band compressor, whatever it's called, it'll show you the. I'm pretty sure it has the attack release times and also the ratios of the compressor, and you would probably be able to.
Hello.
Austin?
Hello. I couldn't hear what you said.
They're already that similar.
You got cut off pretty hard just
Yeah,
then.
you got cut off. I'm sorry. What was that last part?
I was just saying they have they're both 3-band multi-band compressors, so I mean they're already that much similar.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Well,
So
thank you very much. I guess I'll try that.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. You guys are great. I want to tell you, all you guys are great. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, for calling.
bud.
All right, bye.
Up, down settings. I wonder, because
Yeah, he's you know what he's talking about, right?
Well, no, I've never used a compressor in Ableton. I've never used Ableton. Austin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, it's cutting out like hell. But
Super duper.
yeah, no, the upward downward compressor essentially it's when the level is there, you can set
Hey guys, I'll be right back. Okay.
All right. John.
Okay. You can set essentially it boosts the signal when it's under a certain threshold. It reduces the signal when it's above a certain threshold, which
Oh.
allows you to have a lot of control over.
Okay. Actually, I do know. I know exactly how to recreate that using Maximus.
Damn it, John.
John.
Take your phone.
Okay. Damn it. I'm trying to see if I can do
What
that.
happened?
Hey, buddy. What's up?
John.
I'm actually doing a research.
Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, there's actually a thing you can do in Maximus that uses sort of this method. I'm gonna open up a project that I could demonstrate this on. Let's open up one of my Q stuff projects, the non-vocal version. Actually, let's do the vocal version sometime because that's relevant. Someone was talking about vocals anyway, so might as well use that one. So okay, as I understand how he described the upward downward compression, basically if it's lower, it gets pulled up, and if it's higher, it gets pushed down. So it's sort of like a mid. It compresses the dynamics into like the middle range, which is interesting. So in this track, this is actually a different than my final mix. They actually brought it back a little bit in terms of crushing it for the final release. But I can demonstrate pretty clearly how this works. So on my main Maximus, the one that goes on during the drop, if I go into the master, I talked about in the Maximus tutorials on the FL Basics tutorials, which are on my channel, youtube.com/SeamlessR. If you go into the line settings of anything in Maximus, you can directly manipulate the in-out graph, and you can just go a double curve, and then you can make this shape, which is precisely what he was talking about with the upwards and downwards. Because if you look at the shape, if the audio is down here at this particular dB range, it gets pushed up a little bit until it gets too far. But then as it gets louder, it gets pushed down a little bit. So that's more or less what that shape does. It's a bit hard to tell because this is super duper loud.
That's clever. That makes
It has that kind of effect, which is super full of crushing distortion because I am distorting it like you wouldn't believe. If I were to do this, and then double curve. Okay, already double curve. Then turn it down a whole bunch. And that has a very interesting sort of effect on things. Yeah.
I am back.
Cool.
I'm apparently fat,
Wait, what?
according to Dubstep 95. I am apparently
I
fat.
think that same person said that you're skinny, like earlier.
Everybody's just a troll in that.
In that chat, yeah, good. Keeps things spicy.
Everyone's a troll in this stream comment thing. It seems like you see someone's name. Someone's saying his name is anal docking. Like anal docking.
You just gotta expect that, and if you react to it, you took the bait.
It's true facts.
Yep.
Honesty takes up time.
What is
Yeah.
this?
This is the demo track for FL11 with Vila's vocals
Oh.
on it.
Oh yeah,
I did those.
you made a bunch of those.
I made
Someone asked me how.
4.5. I made 4.5. All right, so let's take another question. Let's get. All right, I'm not gonna call groups. I'm not gonna accept group calls. That's cheating. You guys are cheating. I'll wait 7 seconds for the delay to go over. And while I'm waiting, I will say when you make a call, you should probably mute the stream because there is a huge delay. And when I'll thank everyone who's discovered so far. Austin.
Hey, hold on 1 second again.
John's a popular man.
John,
Sorry.
Please mute your microphone.
Hello.
In the meantime, let's call up Alexander. Hello, Alexander.
And okay, well, I'm still in the stream. I'm still doing the producer stream. Oh yeah, I'll give you a call though.
Done. Mute your mic. Yes. Hello, Alexander.
John, there's a mute button in Skype. Just let you know.
Alexander. Okay. Well, Alexander has no mic. That's actually fine. I can look at his Skype. I'm looking in your Skype, Alexander. Ask me your question. Okay. Well, in FL, I'm reading as he types. Scribble, 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 scribble. I use as you. Scribble, scribble, scribble. The limiter. As a sidechainer. But capitals. Scribble, scribble, scribble. I feel like it's either not sidechaining enough or probably gonna say it's sidechaining too much. I guess. Too much.
Lately, for this current song I'm working on, I've been experimenting with LFO tool sidechaining. Do you know about LFO tool, Steven?
Yeah, I use gross beat to kind of approximate the effect,
Okay.
Same thing.
more or less. It's not like LFO. It's not exactly meant to do what it does, and you can't like use it as a controller as you would LFO tool. Volume docking, in parentheses. So basically, Alexander's issue here is that.
And then I also have a regular
sidechain.
compressor, and like in certain sections with more broken beats, I switch to the compressor. But the LFO tool is for like 4/4 beats essentially.
That's pretty much the way I use gross beat as well. If I'm not going to do too much in the way of like break beat stuff, literally breaking the beat, then I will do that. Let's take this track for example. So the way I do most of my tracks is I have a side bus where I route everything I'm going to sidechain into inside the side bus. I'll turn down the master a little bit. And we can see here that I have actually Alexander's still talking to me. Yeah. So thanks for your call, Alexander. You'll want to go back to the stream so you can actually look at what I'm talking to you about. He's typing. All right, thank you. You are welcome. That was very interactive. All right, so the method that I use to do sidechaining in most of the time, if I'm using the limiter, this means that I'm having an audio input that's determining what the sidechain actually is, and it's usually the kick, because why not, right? Thing about that though is that you really only have so much control over the shape if you're using something if it's reading something that's transients, right? So what they're talking about with LFO tool is that the side chaining is more or less constant, and it's a user-defined shape. It's going to be the shape that you want it to be, and that works well as well. And I was saying I use gross beat to do that, and if I want to do that with gross beat, and basically open it up. And then gross beat works by messing with time and also volume. And in the volume, there's actually an option called sidechain somewhere. Sidechain. And it gives you this sort of stuff. Which is a bit intense. I tend to come back here. And it's on the hold command. That's not what I want. There we go. And so now we have much greater control over the sidechain, but like we were talking about, if we ever, go off the beat, it's not going to work out so well. Like in this track, I have some breaks going on in the beat. And so here we can see that, it's procedural when we're sidechaining with something that's actually an audio input. But there's a way to mess with this. You can really dial in the attack and release and stuff like that, but then there's still just a minimum shape that has to happen as a result of the shape of your audio source. So the easiest way to get around this is to use what is referred to as a ghost kick, which is when you have another kick. You can even use a clone of the kick that you're using, like this guy, this dude. Yeah, you clone it, and you put it in another mixer insert. So it's actually just clone the mixer insert because I can do that. Save track. If you fun sort of trick with FL, if you go to save mixer track on anything, save anything, and you drag it and drop it, it will apply it anywhere that you drop it to, which is a fun sort of workflow thing. So now I have cloned everything. So let's put you in 23, and I'm gonna not route this. Actually, it should already be routed to. It's actually not routed anywhere, so that's good. So I'm gonna. It's routed to the side chain right now, but it's not routed to the master. This means that when it plays, which is not because I haven't put the channel in here. Yeah, it's going into the sidechain channel, and I want to turn it down like that. So right now it's going, but we can't hear it. But if I were to go into here and route the second kick, which I guess is this guy. I'll make that easier by smartly hitting the F1 button, which opens up the help menu, which is not what I want to do. Hit F2 to rename it to kick 2 so that I know which one it is. Go back to sidechain, go back to limiter. Select kick 2, which I correctly selected. So let's look at this. Select time, fool. So now if I go into kick 2 and I make changes to the EQ, this will actually greatly affect the shape of the sidechain because it's affected the ghost kick, but it won't change the sound of the other kick at all. So that's more or less how you would control that sort of thing. And again, even if you do this with the peak controller, if that's your method of sidechaining, you're still gonna have to do the same thing if you want to have greater control over the shape of the automation, because that's determined entirely by the transient created by the kick. Unless you do the LFO tool thing, or you do automation and you want to make automation that follows every kick yourself, because you're a manual beast like that. Hope that made sense. Yeah. Lots of people saying lots of weird stuff. All right, who's got questions? Bring in the cowls. I might regret this, but I'm going to answer the call. Oh, wait, this is one of the guys from the group thing. Hello, Piggy the G Whale.
Hello. So my question is aimed at Austin. And is, how do you make your drums so snappy?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
How do I make my drums so snappy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's quite a few things that I do, and
that cut out.
Austin. Pretty much after and you got cut. Oh God.
Played.
Unlike Ableton, for instance, where
Okay, well, awesome. You cut off after you said and the very first one.
I don't know what that was.
Basically, you started talking and you cut out.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, anyway, as I was saying, To make my drums snappy, I get asked this a lot, like how do I have really tight sounding drums? Well, I use pitch, volume, and cutoff enveloping. I use Ultrabeat, which is
Okay, this time you cut out at which is. We're discussing Ultrabeat.
cutoff and pitch to an envelope that you can make a custom shape of. And most of these envelopes that I use to give it that really snappy transient aren't really much longer than 100 milliseconds.
Okay. I remember this conversation from last stream, so I'll just to make sure I understand what was said here. He's saying he uses Ultrabeat in Logic. It's in Logic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a sampler which allows you to have envelope control over pitch, volume, and cutoff, which I'm assuming of filters. You have filter control in Ultrabeat? Yes. Maybe. Come back to me, Austin. Whoa.
I only heard it cut out, and then I just heard filters.
Yeah, mine's
I'm
cutting
just
out
about to
hard.
type all this.
You know, go for it. Anyway, Piggy, pretty much Ultrabeat is the thing. And we actually talked about this either the last stream or one of the times that might have been a pre-show or something. And we were discussing that there is actually kind of a comparable thing in FL called SliceX, which is not actually really made to deal with like one sample at a time, but it can. You can use it to do this. And it does more or less the same thing. And SliceX, I'm pretty sure, is free. It's a free plugin in FL. And it's designed for cutting up drum loops and stuff. But, so this is pretty much the end of your call, and you can watch the stream to take in what I'm about to show people.
All right, awesome. Cheers.
Awesome. Later.
See ya.
I gotta get this internet thing fixed. Or something. I don't know what. So anyway, here's the thing of SliceX. And
John, turn off your dog.
turn off your dog. Pick one that's like, okay, I mean this one's already kind of good, but let's now I had this problem before where I have it in here and I can preview it by right clicking it, but I can't like play it. And you can fix this by going into slicing. There's a bunch of options. If you go to medium auto slicing, it'll slice it pretty much just one. It's one thing. It'll be on.
Whoa.
So now I can play it. Now over here, kind of like in Citrus, you have these various parameters, and then you have various ways to modify it. You have envelopes, LFO, velocity mapping, mod X, mod Y, which is this guy over here, and then randomization. So, like he was saying, we have volume, cutoff, and resonance for filters, and then speed, which in this case is basically pitch, because it changes how fast the sample is played, which is pitch. So if I go to envelope, I can do that, which sounds kind of thing. And the call dropped again. Great. Good. We're doing it awesome. And call's back. Hello, call. Awesome. Guests are doing good. Then we can have envelope. This is kind of a crappy sample to do it too, and kind of what I'm doing isn't very good, but this is more or less getting the idea across. And then I could turn on, let's see, low pass.
Yeah, the
Begin again, Austin. This is terrible. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna. But I need to.
I said that.
It comes back just long enough for him to say that he was about to say something, and then it cuts off again. It's like it knows what it's doing.
Sorry, I just said that SliceX is awesome, and what you're doing is very similar to the stuff that I do.
Okay, good. We're learning. We are learning things. Yeah. I also want to point out a funny feature in just in the sampler channels. There's this option called Pogo, where basically it bends the play speed of the sample one way or another. And for, like, if I used to clap. It's kind of like an automatic version of what we were just doing with SliceX, only without as much control. Built-in settings are fun. I was going to do something meaningful about something that we were discussing, and I forget what it was. I am distracted by network failure. All right, let's get additional calls. John Fisher works now. That's right, because he called earlier and didn't work. Hello, John Fisher works now.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Could you show us some base patches?
Some base what?
Base patches, citrus patches, or something
Sure.
like that.
Sure, why not? Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you for your call.
Yeah.
All right, well, citrus, since you mentioned it. I think there was something I made recently that was kind of reasonable. Okay, these guys. I don't remember what this was. It might be a carrier or something. It's very loud, is what it is. Let's. Yeah, it's a carrier. I can actually find out which one this was for. So if I put this in here, so this is what? BTR2A. BTR2 carrier. BTR2 mod. So I went around saving a bunch of things I had done before, so I can make them again for this exact.
Austin, someone asked you.
It starts out like he identifies what he's going to say, and then it cuts off so that no one knows what he's going to say. It's like a constant tease. What did someone say? What does the fox say? What does the John say is what we want to know.
What did I say about what?
What did you say? You said what someone was asking something, and then you didn't actually get to say what it was because you cut out.
I was just saying.
1, 2. Are you doing this on purpose? Like, are you messing with me right now? This is gonna be a great.
Someone asked.
Download more RAM.
This is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is like comical. In the meantime, let's find out what this patch is supposed to sound like. We're gonna go look at the recording later, and you'll get to see precisely how much dropped on and off. So okay, so this was a carrier, the citrus patch, and I'm assuming it has X and Y. Oh, this one's actually labeled, huh? Interesting. Okay. I wonder if I said this right. So I didn't. Modulators 2. That made more sense. And Skype is bringing it down again.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Dude, I just found out something awesome.
What?
My Ab Initio EP is on the Pirate Bay.
Nice. You're being
I'm on a
pirated.
tour. And this mean I'm doing something right, eh?
Yeah, man. Someone took the time to illegally distribute your stuff.
Yeah, they must want it that badly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have celebrity status reached for our friend Prismatic. So that's what that patch sounds like. That's pretty sweet. Now let's look at what's actually happening in this carrier, because that's more or less what was asked for originally. Meanwhile, yeah. Doesn't need to be that.
Someone, never mind.
All right, so let's look at what's happening. This was apparently FM base 1, which means it's one of my earliest attempts at FM. So let's see what's even happening. So we have 2 is okay. So 2 is modulating 1, and 2 is a fundamental tone triangle wave with some high harmonics as displayed here. And there's also slight changes in phase going on just to create additional kind of timbre. But the trick here, what's causing the sort of vocal business in Citrus, is this high harmonic on top of the fundamental. These days, I tend to do this with 2 operators. I'll make one that's the fundamental, then I'll make another one and make it like pitch 64, which is actually this guy here. But as you see, this is using a third one, and some other crap is going on, which is the real benefit of having this oscillator tab in Citrus, is that you can engage a whole crap ton of what would be normally operators all on their own if I wanted to do this in, say, FM8. But then this operator 2 is being modulated by operator 3 and 5 for some reason. And then 6 is operating on 5. I actually think I remembered this one. I was talking about this in one of my earliest tutorials, and I accidentally modulated 6 by itself. So it was doing this, and it wasn't doing anything. Because 6 is not out going anywhere. It's not going into 5. It's just modulating itself, and I didn't know why it wasn't doing sound. Someone had to point out in the comments later, and I'm like, oh, that's what's happening. So that's kind of funny. Now, the primary modulation of operator 1, which is the one as output, and then also 4. 4 is the sub reinforcement, is what that is. What's happening is that I'm the mod control, which controls the total input modulation, even though there's only one operator doing it. I'm controlling this with mod X. So this is what that's doing there. Now, I believe I'm controlling the mod of... No, so it would be volume. Yeah, so I'm controlling the volume of operator 5, which is the secondary modulation on top of 2 along with 3. I'm controlling that with Y. So it creates different sort of sounds as Y is engaged on top of the main modulation, which is X. Now, on top of all this, if you look at the EQ, it's not really doing anything. So what I was going to say is that it has a certain kind of high frequency harshness to it that is there because it's designed to be a carrier for vocodex stuff, for vocoder modulation. The reason why I do that is because vocoding, when using a modulator, takes stuff away, and the call ended. The call is gone. Oh, Austin needs to go. That's okay. Later, Austin. All right, say goodbye to Au5, ladies and gentlemen. He wasn't aware that he would be here this long. I suppose I should have told him how long it would take. That's my bad. Let's. I'm gonna call back John though. John. Hello, John.
Hi, I'm back.
Indeed, it is just us.
Word. Yeah, Austin said he had to go.
Indeed. So.
Yeah, I'll probably have to go around 7 too.
That's fine. That's cool. So while you're still here, let's actually take some more questions, since I basically talked about what's up. I'm finished what's up with this interesting anyway. Let's have more questions.
More questions. Hopefully, with Austin gone, that'll make the bandwidth a lot better too.
I hope. That's my hope.
I think it already seems like it's doing better.
Yeah. Let's see. Guys loves gold percentage.
What'd you say?
Get that level 10 miles per something. He said Au5, but he capitalized 5, which made it a percentage. And that 110 track will come out eventually. It's a thing that'll happen. I'm just gonna leave it alone.
What 110 track?
One of the ones going to fixed.
Oh, word.
Hello, this guy. What's up? Hello. Teslatea?
Hi. I was wondering if, because of the videos I have seen, you use the Is my mic on?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're good.
Wow, extreme lag. Okay.
I recommend that
the
you
lag
mute the
is
stream.
insane. Okay, well, Okay, so do you use any third-party drums, or do you use any drum synthesis besides the FL default drums?
The answer to that question is yes, and I'll explain.
Like such as drum synthesis in Massive or any VSTs?
I don't do that much. I do use external samples for stuff sometimes. And actually, I have a fun thing I could show people in a second. So thank you for your call, and I will talk about drums now. Hanging up. Yes, I would reiterate that I would like you guys to mute the stream when I take your call, because as everyone has pointed out so far, the lag is intense. Anywho, drums. I discovered a project today that I had forgotten about from a long time ago, and what it was is I had recorded my metal band Krakatoa, and where is it? Actually, I don't remember what I called it. It was above. Crap. Oh, I guess it'll be here because I had opened it. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'd recorded my band, and I set up the drums, and it sounded pretty good. So I decided, why not sample the drum kit? And I did.
Well, that sounds great.
So I have drums, but as he was talking about the way I do drum synthesis and stuff like that, I don't really do that. I don't like use FMA to make a snare like Noisy I did in that one video, and I don't really do synthy sounding drums anyway. That's not something I like typically. And also, but I will use Superior Drummer for things, and because Superior Drummer is the shit. But in terms of realistic drum samples, I wanted to see if I could do it too. So I recorded one, and I put it in an FPC kit. I didn't make it complete. I never finished it, which is why I forgot it was here, because I didn't record crash samples. I didn't record. I had some Riot samples in there, but the FPC isn't the super powerful sampler. Like, it can do neat things. Like what's happening here is that you can actually set like the velocity layering of a sound. So like you can see the snare has quite a bit of layers going on. But like you can't do like round robins, which I really love, because like that sounds super duper fakey when you have, you know, the same sample going on over and over again. Same thing with the kick, but I kind of faked it with the kick, where I set it so that basically the two top velocity layers are the same, would normally be the same velocity layer, but they're the ones that would alternate, which is what's going on at the end of this demo loop here. It still sounds kind of fakey.
Steven, do you use these drums in like dubstep? You don't use these in dubstep projects, do you?
I've never used these drums. Like I forgot they were here.
Okay.
But damn, those toms.
Yeah, those toms are sick.
Now these toms and all these sounds are the processed sounds of the recorded kit, because I'll set up the kit and the dry sounds do not sound as good, because my studio, while being an actual studio, is not super well made, treated, and designed for this kind of shit, you know, to the best that it could be. So lots of compression and EQing and noise reduction and all kinds of stuff. These samples, however, have the benefit of not being played with each other, you know, because like actual kit mixing is a bit of a pain in the ass when there's a real drummer playing on it and it's being all recorded at once, but these were all being recorded separately. So I was able to more, you know, make the sounds sound more like I wanted them to. But those are all a real kit that were in my studio at one point. That's kind of interesting. I should do something with this, just because if anything else, these samples are taking up freaking space on my hard drive. But yes, more or less the answer to that question. Seamless, I want to make you rich and famous. You agree with that? Are you agree with that? I agree with being rich and famous.
I want to be rich and famous.
I'm actually pretty okay with just being rich, honestly.
just be like behind the scenes famous. Like just be like an artist who everyone knows about, but no one actually knows. Well, it's too late. I mean, there's memes of your face all over the internet. So
Yeah, that's kind of a thing now. So I suppose part of that was more or less, yeah. Okay, let's have some more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Doo-ba-doo. And remember,
questions.
questions. And remember, mute the stream when your call is accepted because you will then be in the future in real time and not listening to the stream, which is like 20 seconds late.
In the past.
It's true. You're time travelers. You're
Hey, someone asked me for tips on Massive.
Yeah.
Can I share some things?
After this next guy's call.
Okay,
cool.
cool.
Because then we got people calling. All right, Skype Pants McGee is calling. I am intrigued by your name. Hello, Skype Pants McGee.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I've been getting into making Reese baselines lately. Could you give me a tip for making crazy Reeses?
Crazy Reeses. All right.
Yes.
This is pretty something I dig. Wow, that guy was like hardcore efficient. He came in, he asked, and he left before I even said anything. All right. Actually, before the stream started, I showed a thing. I was showing a thing to the pre-show, and I think I will talk about that now because it's a bit of an interesting topic. So, you could do this without using Harmor, but certain things that Harmor does makes this a bit easier. But I'm discussing the nature of unison. It's because we're talking about Reese bases. This is kind of important. Your typical Reese sound is going to be the result of putting two saw waves together to create phase cancellation, which causes the wobble. That's more or less the end of it right there. That's your basic Reese. But of course, making it more complex is somewhat daunting. The traditional method usually relies on band splitting. I don't mean the typical like band splitting in terms of like you have a low and a mid and a high, which is good practice in general for sound design. You work on your low, you work on your mids, you work on your highs. But in terms of the Reese philosophy, which is this idea of pitch effects, distortion, pitch effects, distortion, pitch effects, distortion, that kind of layering, which lately I've been wondering if a Reese is called a Reese because it's typically a resampled sound. Like, I'm aware that maybe it was a dude's name or something, but like resampled bass, Reese, a Reese, that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah. You bring up an interesting point there.
Because back in the day, having layering that kind of layer of like more than one pitch distortion could really only have been done through recording it, running it through the same channel, running it through the same channel over and over again. Of course, nowadays you don't need to do that, but back then you had to. So some dude's name, I guess. But I mean, I like my idea that it was called that because resampling. Because I like resampling, in case you didn't know. But
really, you do like resampling? I didn't know that.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. But this idea of band splitting is the idea of changing up your pitch settings. So in ye olden days, what you would do is you would band split your Reese, just this basic sound, and then you would put different pitch effects on each individual band. And then
what do you mean by pitch effects?
Pitch effects. Okay, pitch effects are pretty much any like unison, chorus, flanging.
Gotcha.
That kind of stuff. Like unison is a pitch effect in and of itself. So like this is how it starts. Unison, and then you distort it, and then you band split it, and then you chop it up into bands, and then you apply different pitch effects in each of these bands. And then when you distort that together, you get interesting results. We can approximate what the old way would have been using the harmonic unison pitch window in Harmor, where we can control the pitch depth of the unison according to the spectrum in your additive sound, because Harmor is an additive thing. And so by approximate, I mean like your typical band split might have looked something like this. Like you have a low, you have a mid, and then you have a high, where it's like just chunked cuts like this. So you can make a band that's a low, it's a mid, the high, and it would have been like that. And then you distort it. And like you could reasonably do this with not Harmor. It would be difficult, and choruses and flangers and stuff like that aren't as good at this as a unison is. And like your other way that you could have done this is you could have cloned a group of 2 saw waves. So like had 2 saw waves that had this setting, and then cut and then EQ'd that to just be a low, and then made a second one, and then made 2 that are just this setting, and then made a third that have 2 that are just this setting, and put them all together and distort them all together, and then you would get this sound. That would have been how you did that. However, Harmor lets you take this to whole fucking other planets. Like, I talked about this in my tutorial that I actually put out today, which was about the unison settings in Harmor, and like, because these are your normal splits, but then you could do like this, where now all the harmonics that are between the 2nd and 5th octave, I guess, 5th octaves, like the 30 or 40 harmonics that are here, all have progressively different unison values. And then you can, of course, do this, because like you could still do this without Harmor. You could have 516, and I can tell you that it is in fact 516 partials. It says it up here, 516. You can set how many there are by this partial count, and the max is 516. But you could set this. You could set 516, sine waves that are tuned properly, and then change the values slightly. Then you do that, and then how do you solve for that? Like you would literally need calculus to know like what that gets you. So Harmor is pretty much like solving for N for Reeses on that front. I will, however, show you a quick trick for a cone-ish kind of sound that discovered a couple days ago, where you turn up unison to 9, you put it on Hertz setting, you keep the phase kind of in line, and then actually bring the phase a little bit down, like that. Now you're gonna right-click this, go to Edit Articulator, and then right-click anywhere so that you make a point, and bring it out kind of like there, here, and then turn it on like this. And it'll kind of open up and then stay at a location for a little bit. And you can distort it. And then fuck around with the filters. I think also you might want to make a square. So let's do this. There it is. Okay, so I made it a square by using the detune function, but you can do it just by moving the timbre over to square. If you look at the visualizer, the difference between doing this up here versus the detune is that over here you can see it actually removes the harmonic partials that create the saw wave sound and only leaves the ones that create the square wave sound, which is odd and even differences. But then if you do it with the detune, it looks like it does the same thing, but what it actually does is it spreads the harmonic partials in such a way that it ends up being in the same position. Which you might be thinking, well, what's the difference other than it being a little bit louder? And that has to do with how things like this setting are applied, because like this is set by octaves, and if we look at like say again the 3rd to 5th octave, like over here, if we turn it off, if we go to the square waves like this, where we turn off certain partials, the partials that are in here, this range will be the same in terms of audibly. It'll still be the same. We'll just lose the partials that are in the middle. But then if we were to set it using the detune function, this section here would effectively be like moved up. Like how many more are in here? Moved up. Slide function. Where you at? Go away. It would be basically be moved up. Like the effective range of these partials are being increased, but the partials themselves are still from here. The data that we're applying to them by doing these things with the octave related settings are still there. They're still acting on the sound, which is not the same as if we got rid of them entirely.
Guys, dude, that's a fucking cone sounds, dude. You have to make a glitch hop cone sound song now. You have to.
I have to.
Yeah, just pianos, fucking violins, cone sound Reese, Ausla.
Instant Ausla, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, that's how you do it.
Awesome. All right, so now John wants to give us tips on Massive.
All right, so massive. So
I'm
a
gonna-
lot of my sound design is massive. A lot of it used to be Razer, but I'm kind of got tired of the Razer sound. But anyways, massive. So the biggest thing with massive is voicing and restart oscillators via gate, and that causes your massive to have a really big presence. So what I usually do first with my massive, well, first what I do is go to envelope 4 and turn the level all the way up, yeah, so it doesn't sound all decayed. They're fucking assholes for making it like that.
I know, right?
From startup. But so first thing I usually do with massive is I go to voicing, and I turn the voices up to like between 3 and 5 usually. And if you press it down, it sounds all like, phasey and like raspy.
Here, one
you
second.
know.
I'm going to give a sort of FL tip for using massive. This is something someone else had said on a video of mine. But if you go into options over here, and there's don't allow keyboard focus. And what this does is you notice that how if you ever use massive in FL, when you click on any freaking parameter, like if I had this off still, keyboard focus, I'm able to preview the sound. But if I move to any parameter, suddenly preview's not doing anything. I have to go over here to click on this again to get preview back. But if you turn on don't allow keyboard focus, now any parameter I move, I can still preview on the keyboard. So that's super duper important.
Ableton does that shit when you use audio units.
Yeah.
For some reason, in audio units, after you change a parameter, you can't hear it after you press a key down again.
That's annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying as shit. So, but anyway, so massive. So yeah, I turn I usually do voicings, and then I go over to the oscillator option, and I do restart oscillators via gate. Now your massive will sound huge. That's a big massive, and
it's massive, you could say.
Yeah, exactly. And then I usually, if the volume is like, peaking to fuck, because that's usually what happens. I turn the volume down a little bit, and from there I kind of like fuck around. I maybe add. I don't usually. Then I open up the wavetable, and just start messing around. I mean, everyone's a massive user. I'm sure we all know what the good wavetables are.
I have recently discovered Carbon.
Carbon is sick. I mean, my favorite one though is the good old Scrapyard.
But of course,
Scrapyard, just turn Bend on. Turn Bend Plus. That's another thing too. Bend Plus is the shit. Like, listen to that shit, and then
actually,
do the
I want to show you guys something funny about Bend Plus. I noticed this in the wave form oscillator up there, but we can see it easier in Wave Candy. Let's see, go to oscilloscope and put it somewhere. How do I change the background transparency? It's yeah, we go. All right, so fun thing about Wave Candy, if you go to the update thing, which controls how like the resolution of the waveform, if you right click it, you get note options. And what am I hitting right now? I'm hitting F. So if I select F1, I guess it says, the waveform will actually stay where it is. So you can actually, preview what you're looking at pretty clear. But watch what happens when I mess around with the bend functionality on any.
Whoa. That's tight as shit.
That's actually what it's doing. Like and if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because if you're bending the waveform, the wavetable and the waveform's interpretation of the wavetable, because that's what massive is, the wavetable sense. So you have the wavetable, it reads the table's position, and then the bend kind of fucks with the image of that waveform. And if you go to bend plus or minus, if you go back to center. So if you're ever curious as to why that did that, that's why.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, Logix, is that just the analyzer plugin that FL has?
This is called Wave Candy. It's a plugin. It's free. Not only can
it's not FL exclusive.
Maybe, I don't know if they sell a VST of it. it's a FL plugin, like ImageLine made it. I have absolutely no idea if you can get it standalone. I've never tried.
Yeah. But also another like tip I wanted to give out with Massive and just like kind of sound design in general, like anytime anyone's like, how did you get that crazy sound? Usually what it is like I was just scrolling through, like when you turn like the bend knob or like the wavetable position knob, you hear every little notch because you see around the knobs there's little notches. That's almost like a step, it's like a step note. You hear tasty little bits in there. So what I do is that I try to focus the sound around a tasty bit. Like I'll put like an envelope on it, so that I use envelopes a lot. Not really. Yeah, see like that. Like that's tasty, or like that like big pop sound. So I would put an envelope on it so that the envelope it's just modulating that a little tiny bit. So. Or like I would do the blue envelopes. I usually
Yeah,
I use the blue envelopes usually. They're like pitch envelopes kind of, but and then you have to adjust like the levels usually. I put the level all the way down. Yeah, like that. Weird. Doesn't sound like it's doing anything.
it's really slow for some reason.
Gotcha. But yeah, little things like that. I'll exploit little things like that.
That was too fast. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never used Massive.
Yeah. There you go. See, like that, like just little things like that. And then what I like a lot is then I might do some shit with the bend. Add like some more elements to it. Also, another thing with Massive is that I like to usually just stick to one. This is by no means like something like a set in stone rule, but I like to stick to one oscillator usually, because I found if you add more, like, because since it's additive synthesis, FM, I learned synthesis through operator in Ableton, which is FM, and that routes the wavetables go through each other to create a new sound. Whereas Massive is additive, the wavetables are playing separately from each other. So that's just creating a lot of extra, that's creating more sound and gets messier. So I like to do one oscillator, and then if I want to do like the typical, like the massive-y, like Foreman-y type sounds, I'll layer it with a Foreman oscillator, or just turn the volume down a little bit. Dude, Steven, you should really fuck with Massive more. I really think you'd like it, especially with your knowledge of like Harmor and resampling, because that's what most of my 90% of my sound design is resampled Massive.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting back into it because my original resampling tests were done with Massive sampled sounds, and I'm also Sean Law is kind of getting me back into Massive. What is stuff that he does?
See, listen to that shit. And another thing I do is that so I'll take like that, and I'll bounce it to audio. And another thing I like to do is time stretching my whoa.
Time stretching.
Yeah, sorry, my headphone jack came out, and I was worried there was going to be a big epic delay. But anyway, so yeah, I like to do time stretching a lot with audio.
Yeah.
Hello? Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it froze for a second.
We're all here.
That sounds sick.
I want to bring it.
See, that's a downbeat sound for a drop right there. See, yeah, right there. Take that initial start attack time. Can you start it at right there? Yeah, right there. Can you start it right there? Maybe start it a little back. Yeah. That's sick as fuck.
Yay, sound design.
I love sound design too, but honestly, I've been kind of focusing more on melody lately.
Yeah, that gets to be a thing. You focus too much on sound design, and eventually you forget that you're making music.
Yeah. I would take a MIDI clip of that and I would turn that to audio and then I would time stretch it and process it more and chop it up more.
Oh yes, all that good sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I made a thing recently where I don't know why this never occurred to me, but I started resampling vocoder sounds on a thing. It's not going to be here because I saved it in a different folder, which is in packs, extra, samples, bases, PTR bases. And again, this is something that Sean suggested to me. I think it's because when I make a vocoder sound, like so much work goes into it that I want that to be a final sound. Like I don't want to go any further for it. Kind of deal, but I believe this is the one. Yeah, I made a vocoder sound and then I put it in Harmor and I made it playable. Is what I wanted to do with it.
Whoa, that's sick. So what is that? Like exactly, what's happening exactly? Oh, that's your that's like a signature seamless sound.
That's pretty basic FM sound. I'm trying to find what the originator of that sound. It was one of these guys. Not
that's
that guy.
tight. Whatever just happened there.
That's a resample.
Dude,
this thing.
Ah, god damn! It
might have been one of these. It might not even be in this. It might not even be in this project, actually. Actually, I should have it recorded somewhere, shouldn't I? Yep, that was it. That was the original sound, and
that thing is like hell no. What is that, Patcher?
Yeah. So this thing, this is the way that I did this is that okay. So the vocoder stuff that I do is usually I'm kind of branching out now, but back when I made this was is a FM patch in Citrus, the usual sort of talky one, very close to the one that I showed you guys a minute ago. And then I have a Harmor as a modulator with one of my sounds that I like using as an image, and then I'm using image position to kind of control the vocal sound. So that's what this massive amount of automation clips is here. And the top two are X and Y of the Citrus, and these are this one is the vocoder, like the vocal position in Harmor, and then these three are just parameters in the Vocodex. Actually, that's actually in the patcher. So this guy controls. And if you look at inside the Harmor, you can see that controlling it there. And then the vocal sorts of parameters are being moved around. I tend not to move the parameters around so much anymore, but I did in some of my earlier stuff. Like Menagerie is full of that, which is why when you look at it, there's 7 automation clips per one of those sounds. And because I'm controlling a whole bunch of stuff. And then I recorded that, resampled it into this Harmor. And then I flattened it using the scale option, because when you resample something, you have this scale knob here. If I just bring back all the speed controls and sharpness.
Whoa. The very first bit of that is really tight.
Okay. I also did formant changes. I obviously did lots of changes, but when you first resample something, you see that it actually plays it pretty one-to-one with the original audio. But if you bring back a scale option, it basically flattens it so that the harmonics sort of stay at an individual note, so that when you're more easily able to play the notes. And then I messed around with the sharpness, which more brings it into your saw wave sound as it was originally. And then I got rid of the speed.
Sounds very yoy. You know that dude Antelope?
Yeah.
He hates yoy basses, like the yoy those
Yeah.
things. He hates those.
The bit crusher yoys.
Yeah, I used to think they were mind blowing when I first heard them in 2010, whatever, or 2009 when dubstep first was.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
Yeah.
Amnesiac Music asks, "Is there an easy way to do the flattening thing outside of Harmor?" The answer to that question is no. Not a single fucking way. Like the closest thing you're going to get is vocoding. Because if you think about it, this kind of is vocoding. Because what this is a 516 band vocoder, like a note following vocoder. And it's kind of also how Razer does this thing, where it reads input audio and then it resynthesizes it live into bands or harmonics. Which is kind of what this is doing. And that's, again, like I said, the closest you're going to get, because you're really not going to get, without added resynthesis, you're not going to get something this good. Kind of deal. All right, so it is 7:17. We got about 10 minutes or so left, so let's ask more questions.
Well, yeah, Steven, I'm actually about to bounce.
Okay.
I got some stuff to do. But thanks for having me on.
No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, John Prismatic. He has an EP coming out on Monday. Adapted?
I have a Aptitude EP forthcoming, Adapted Records, November 11th. Some of my best work. I'm really excited to release it. So yeah. Sick. Well, I'll see you guys later.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Peace.
Later. Okay. We are guestless. So hold on. People are asking questions about things. What does the blue mix knob do? So this mix knob mixes between image resampling and just synthesis. That's what that does. .gif makes a good point. If you want things to sound pretty much exactly like my stuff, that's when you'll want to get tips from me, because I'm not a very generalized person when it comes to getting a final master sound. Definitely of a certain variety. So yeah, let's take some questions. Questions. I'm gonna wait for the delay to be done delaying so you guys can hear me ask questions. Looking at the sky. Looking at the sky. Eep. A remix. 280 viewers. Holy crap. We almost have 300 viewers. That's awesome. I do listen to to Prodigy. Prodigy. Not the Prodigy. The Prodigy. This guy. Why not? Hello, this guy.
Oh, hey, dude.
Hi. Make sure you mute the stream.
Yeah, I did.
Good job.
I'm getting loads of feedback.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
Alright, dude. I don't mind. I was wondering if... Oh, it's so weird hearing my own voice.
Not much we can do about that.
I'm sorry. I was wondering if, if you have kicks and stuff and it affects the synths because it's not in the right tune, the kicks are out of tune for the song, how do you pitch kicks properly?
Okay. Sure, I'll answer that question. Thank you for it.
Alright, no problem.
Bye.
See ya.
So tuning your drums. There are two reasons I would say to tune your drums. One is to make sure that your fundamental tones are aligned for things like kicks and snares, for other kicks and snares. And the other one would be for, as he says, it's out of tune for the song, which really only comes into play when you have a kick sound, like a kick sample that has a tuned element to it, like a tom or something, or 808, boo, some kind of long sort of deal. The easiest way that I do that, I can actually show you a project where I was doing this. Actually, no, I can't because I had Windows doing different things. But anyway, the easiest way for me to do it is if I were to open up like a snare or something, or kick. Let's do a snare. Let's do like that guy because I like him. And that guy. Two that have very distinct fundamental tones. Fundamental snaps, anyway. They're very snappy. So let's make them do their thing. And now, basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up two different EQs for them. Not that. And now let's do that. What I just said, but loading up EQs. And then we're kind of going to put them next to each other, like so. And we can kind of see where they do or do not mix. Now, there's a couple of things you can do with each EQ. You can force the fundamental tone to be where it is, where you just EQ hardcore. Because right now I'm focusing on this guy. That guy is very much there, right? So then I can kind of do that. But if I don't want to do that, then what I can do is pitch it. Can move it around. What we can see when I pitch it, we can actually see it move in the spectrum. And then now they're aligned. So you would want to do that for the same thing with your kick and your bass, I guess, if you want it to be in tune. Most of the time, because your kicks don't change tone unless there's something that's so tonality, has such a huge tonality to it, that you literally are playing your bass like it's a bass. We did this. We did this for the Unshakable remix. BT and I, we had our 808, and then we actually played the 808 up and pitch and up and down to follow the song because we had this problem. So, yeah, basically follow it around on the EQ is the answer to that question. Yeah. So talking about mastering class and the 6 dB thing. So this is the same guy that said that not to take super duper close care to my tips about making things super duper loud, because he's not wrong. Like, the traditional methods would die in a fire if they ever heard what I did and why and all sorts of stuff. But the thing about headroom and our kind of like worshiping of it is a bit of an antiquated concept. Headroom is really all about the noise floor and recording, where you have a microphone going in and you have your preamps and things like your instrument, your cable, your amps, all of that, your interface make noise. And if you have high enough bit depth, 24-bit kind of thing versus 16-bit, then your distance from the noise floor is greater. And if you have greater dynamic range, that means that you don't have to turn, compress things, because when you compress things, you're bringing up your noise floor. And in traditional recording, this is bad. This is a bad thing. So if we were to do the kind of huge compression that I do on stuff now to like a jazz album, it would be the most destructive thing ever. It would just be fuzz everywhere, kind of thing. Like instrument noise, background noise. You can do noise cancellation, but it's not going to be good. It's not going to be what you really want. However, in synthesis, you have no noise unless you're like, I don't know, setting out the hardware in an effects loop. But even then, like, you don't have to have noise. Like your distance from the noise floor is infinite. Not only that, but in certain cases, like for example, FL Studio, your audio runs around eternally at 32-bit floating point, not 24-bit, not 16-bit, but 32-bit. And the numbers work out in a certain way that means that instead of clipping at 0 dB, like 24-bit and 16-bit do, 0 dB, I might add, is an arbitrary position, because no decibels means no audio. but 0 dB is an artificial ceiling that was instituted in the standards for bit depth because we had to know where the top and where the bottom is of your dynamic range. But 32-bit doesn't have a top. I mean, it does, but it's fucking far. It's like 1600 dB. It's absurd. So you aren't going to lose data with things that clip, quote unquote. It's going to sound like it's clipping. It's going to distort, but that's because your playback is 24-bit or 16-bit or any other format that clips at 0 dB. So even though something's clipping, the information is still present, which means that I could slam a whole mix plus 12 dB into the master, and it would, like, you know, I have my limiter set at 0 dB, so that means that it would be, you know, super duper running into the ceiling, but I could still turn it down, and all the data will still be preserved. It would still be there. So, like, the primary reason for doing the minus 6 dB thing is not super duper present anymore. And so that means that a lot of the mistakes that get made when routing things and running into your noise ceiling, or rather running into your 0 dB, your dynamic range ceiling, are not really there. And it's a relic of not only the past, but of a wholly different, like, style of recording, which is not ours. And that's not to say that I consider these things when I do what I do in terms of mixing and master, because I don't. I just like loud things, and I also kind of like how certain clipping and distortion sounds, and that's why I do what I do. I only know these things after the fact. Just saying. Okay. All right, it's almost 7:30, so I'll take one more question. One more question, and then today's stream will end. I make my melodies by putting down stuff that I think sounds good until it sounds good. That's really all there is to that. Calls, yo. Keegan O'Connor. Hello, Keegan.
Hey, man.
How are things?
Good, how are you?
I'm excellent. What is your question?
My question is it possible, and if so, can you please do it, to make a vocoding bass in Citrus or FM8, it doesn't really matter, just whatever your preference is, that doesn't sound really robotic-y, it sounds more like a mutated growl, if that makes sense at all.
That doesn't make sense. It's, well, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. So I'll talk about that. Let's do that.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. So, this actually brings up a pretty decent point. Let's talk about what makes a vocoded sound, like what causes it to sound the way it does. And for this question, I'm actually going to open up the Far Too Loud project. This one, I think. Yeah, I might not actually have gotten what the gist of what you wanted. Yeah, okay. So here's this sound. Now, this, I guess I would call this that it sounds more or less on the robot-y side of things, right? So this is kind of robot-y. And there's two reasons for this. One is the settings in the vocoder, and the other is the sound that I chose to use as the carrier. I could mess around with like the vocoder to change like the characteristics of certain things. That sounds more growly, you know, to my ear, you know, it gets a bit growlier. But really, like, the meat of what a vocoder sound is going to do is reliant entirely, like maybe 80% on your carrier and your modulator choice. So like the modulator in this example is my voice, me going blah, 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 blah. But like we talked about way at the beginning of the stream, there's this guy I linked on my Facebook page, Jay and Mac and Cheese. Jay and Mac and Cheese is his Skype name, but Jay and Mac. He did a Skrillex tutorial about Equinox, rest of the year, and the way that he had done that is that he made a carrier in FM8, but then he actually used the ripped vocals from that track, and this is because that bass in that track was use the vocals that were cut up the way they were as the carrier or the modulator for the sound, and that greatly influenced the sound's closeness to the original. Right. And so, like, if I did not use my voice, if I used some other sound or voice, like let's use
Bring me to. Oh, are you here to move?
like someone like this chick's voice,
Move?
a very different sound. We'll channel you in 3, 1, 2, 3. Versus, it's kind of similar because it uses the same carrier, the same vocodex settings, but it's still a very different kind of like tonality. And again, those are still both voices. You know, we're still using vocals. But then let's go to the Citrus channel. This one is born of what I was talking about in my last How to Bass. Actually, am I using... Not even the right one. Okay. What am I... My mom is watching the stream. I just heard what I just did come out of the ceiling. Hi, Mom. Thanks for watching. So this is a very thin and sharp sound, and that's causing the kind of very thin and sharp, you know, roboticness that we're talking about in the sound that we're talking about. So let's actually make this a bit more... like that. That's a bit different. So let's go back to put you in 1 here. And now it's much more gravelly sounding, you know what I mean? It's smoother. Can still hear that coming out of the ceiling. She must be listening to that really loud. God. I have like 2 feet of soundproofing in my ceiling. I have a window. It's closed, but I'm not hearing the sound come out of the window. I'm hearing it come out of like right over there. Indeed. Yeah. So basically, the answer to your question in a very long form is that all these pieces come together to create the sound that you get. And if a sound that you want is not necessarily doing it, try drastically changing part of your sound. So either drastically change the vocoder settings, drastically change the carrier, drastically change the modulator, or all 3. That's pretty much that. Can I please go over glitch hop drums? Swing. Lots of swing. And people are very enamored with the idea that I have a mother. Yeah. Indeed. So it's 7:30. I'm going to call this a okay stream. This worked out pretty good. We almost had 300 viewers at one point. That's pretty sweet. We got lots of decent tidbits out of Au5 and Prismatic when their call wasn't being destroyed by my bandwidth. And we had live callers at the same time. I still can't believe the setup worked. It's insane. Yeah, so right now, anyway, this stream happens every Saturday at 6 p.m. EST, -5 GMT. I am planning on maybe changing this time. I don't know when yet, but when I do, I'll put up polls and questions everywhere so that everyone can get a say as to when things work best for them. I do happen to know that the majority of my viewers are from the United States, so there's that. I might even do 2, like one where I do one for US viewers and then one for not US viewers to kind of like even that out. Or I might, like, another option I had was every like one stream a month I'll alter to some European time or Asian time so that my international viewers can more easily be here for the live show. Because certainly enough of them can access the recorded one. But the live is where it's at, obviously. Indeed. I'm England-ish white. I mean, the time and date that I arrived at for the stream now was originally a poll on my Facebook, but that was, I had like 2,000 likes at the time, and B, they got rid of polls on Facebook. How obnoxious is that? Yeah, so I am done. I'm going to end the stream. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know. And as usual, have a nice day.